Hello and welcome to Live with the Pricing Lady. Hello, everyone. I am Janine Liston, your hostess. This show is all about helping you get pricing right in your business. Pricing is the biggest profit lever you have, and so knowing how to use it to push your business and drive your business forward is going to be a way for you to be there for the long term. Today, I have a very special guest. I'd like to welcome David Franzen to the program. Hi, David.
Hi, thank you for having me, Janine. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I'm really excited to have this discussion today. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, for sure. So, hi, everybody. My name is David Franzen. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Nocto. We are based in the Netherlands, and Nocto, in short, is a data-driven platform that matches consumers with hospitality businesses in real time. So very exciting times now in the hospitality industry, and we believe we've found a valuable solution to help this industry really come out of this crisis in a positive way.
Excellent, excellent. So that's a little bit, we're going to dig more into what David and Nocto does in a Nocto. Sorry, I have a problem saying that in a moment. For those of you who are joining us live, welcome to the show. Go ahead and throw something in the chat so that we know you can hear us and see us clearly. And of course, if you have any questions as we're going through the discussion, go ahead and put them in the comments, and David and I will try to address them. So what we wanted to talk about today, and it's very relevant in these times, is what and how, really how, to go about shifting your pricing strategy when the market changes. And of course, for pretty much every industry right now, the market has completely changed, right? It's really shifted quite a bit. So in order to help people understand, why don't you tell us a little bit more about exactly what you're doing with Nocto?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we are doing with Nocto is we're really trying to bring the hospitality industry into the next generation. So traditionally, hospitality has been quite traditional, quite low tech, and also quite ineffective, actually. That consumers on their side, they are relatively often finding themselves going to the same bar or the same restaurant. There's not that many options to really discover new places, and there's a whole bunch of issues, let's say. And on the business side also, restaurants and cafes and bars are finding, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays are very good, but then the rest of the days are quite different. And especially actually now with the Corona crisis, a lot of things are changing, and we actually see this in the medium to long term. We hope to see that this is going to be quite an advantage actually for Nocto. Because it's just changing the way that the hospitality industry is dealing with technology, and really the realization for them that they need to use data-driven solutions. They need to use technology to attract more customers and to build relationships with their customers. So that's what we try to do. We try to match consumers with new and interesting experiences, both locally and in other cities, with then experienced providers, bars, clubs, restaurants, hotels, cafes, to really just make the hospitality industry a bit more effective and a bit more 21st century.
Right. Okay, so that makes that, I think that helps everybody here a little bit understand more about what you're doing. Now, pre-corona, we were having a conversation, I guess it was last year, about Nocto and what you were doing. I will get it by the end of this 20 minutes, I honest. And, you had a plan to start, you were starting in Amsterdam? No.
In The Hague. We started in The Hague.
The Hague.
Yeah.
You were starting in The Hague and building the business model from there. So tell us a bit about that.
Yes. So, the reason why we started it in The Hague is actually my co-founder, Mark, used to be, or still is, I guess, a DJ and event organizer based out of The Hague. So he had quite a large network there. And what we did when I say that we launched it then in The Hague is that we have an app for consumers, for you to sort of like an Instagram for hospitality, let's say. And on the other side, we have a website where the bars and clubs, etc., log in and are able to leverage the app in order to attract the customers. So we launched the whole system, I believe it was in March 2019 in The Hague.
Okay.
We made it up to about 50 clients. We made it up to, I think, about something like 5,000 app downloads. And we had a community that was growing quite well, quite organically in The Hague. And The Hague was really our test city. So we wanted to optimize everything. And as we approached then now towards the beginning of 2020, we were preparing to launch into several other cities, Rotterdam, Eindhoven, Utrecht, and Amsterdam, a couple of other cities in the Netherlands. But then, of course, Corona hit, and the lockdown was enforced. Restaurants, bars, clubs, cafes, that was the last thing on people's minds, and that really dramatically affected our business. I mean, essentially, our whole business closed down as the lockdown happened. So,
and your pricing strategy at this point was when you started was what?
Right. The topic of today. Exactly. So our pricing strategy was actually, we only had two pricing packages, I believe, at that point. One was Nocto Basic, which we charge 50 euros a month. And that's primarily a marketing tool. And the other one
for the restaurants?
Yes. The consumers, the app is completely free. So we only have a B2B. Well, we did only have a B2B business model. 50 euros per month for Nocto Basic and 250 euros per month for Nocto Premium, where Basic is a marketing tool and Premium is more like sort of like data statistics and the ability to use that to build up relationships with our customers.
Right.
So we had started with that, and we were intending to continue with that into the new cities. But during Corona, we realized that our clients, our prospect clients, are extremely short on cash when they then were able to reopen, because they still had to pay full rent and relatively close to full staff. But because of the Corona capacities that were enforced, they could only service fewer customers, and they had significantly less revenue. So what we decided to do is actually two things. First and foremost, we introduced a third package, Nocto Free. And Nocto Free, of course, is free, and was still, though, very limited in terms of the functionality. But it meant that prospect clients could then become clients and join our community and benefit of some fundamental features.
Essential features.
Without having to pay anything at all. That was the first step. And the second step also is that, of course, us as a business, we're dependent on the industry thriving. And we knew that if we expected our clients to pay immediately up front, that very few of them would choose to do so, which a business that had not yet been as proven as our competitors like Facebook and Instagram as marketing channels. So what we decided to do is we picked a date, and that date is October the 1st. And until October the 1st, we are currently now offering all venues anywhere in the world, but still primarily focused on the Netherlands, for them to have full and free access, not just to Nocto Basic, but also to Nocto Premium, completely for free, with no obligations to pay thereafter. So this is our strategy now. And we're seeing that this is actually going really well. We are signing up venues, as we call them collectively, then at a rate of an average of 2 a day. So this month to date, so far, we have already signed up approximately 50 venues. So we're currently now at about 100, and I think we're past 150 clients now total. And the idea then is just to make sure that we are, of course, onboarding free venues and that they are seeing the value in our system, so that once October the 1st comes around and we then start charging for our services once again, that we can have a high adoption rate of one of our paid features.
So if I recall correctly, and I forget how long ago it was we had this conversation, you also you added some functionality into the actual app itself, right? And this had to do with the fact that, now they can't take as many people in the restaurants. So you might go somewhere and show up and you can't get a table, right? So there's some additional value or technology that you added in there. Can you tell us?
Exactly. Yeah. So to complement the fact that we knew our venues would not be able to pay for our services at this point, we also realized that their needs changed a little bit. And you correctly mentioned that the concern was now that venues were able to stay open, but only with limited capacity. So in most cases, terraces were bound by the 1.5 meter social distancing, and inside inside the actual venue, reservations were made mandatory, as well as a maximum capacity of 30 people actually.
Okay.
Which is very restrictive, especially for the larger venues that normally could handle, 500-600 people at top capacity. So what we spent those couple of months of downtime doing was building a new feature, specifically purpose built to help venues manage this capacity, and we've called it the Nocto Stoplight. And what this is a very simple system that in the website that our clients have access to, there are 3 big buttons. A green button, a yellow button, and a red button, just like a traffic light. And what this means is that if a venue still has a lot of capacity, they should have the green button highlighted. As they start approaching capacity, they click on yellow. And as they are full and they cannot accept more people, they click on red. And whatever color they have set in the website, this color will be in real time adjusted in the app. So when you and if
I'm on the app looking for somewhere to go have a drink with friends and our usual hangout is red, then I might be able to see which places are green or yellow that might be a better option.
Exactly. And it's a very simple system. It's literally just 3 buttons and it's one click for the venues.
Right.
But it really has benefits not only for the consumers that are able to prevent spending time and money and energy going to a place where they might then get rejected because of capacity, but it also actually helps them discover new places. You might have the habit of going to that same place, but now you're almost forced to discover new places, which is of course also interesting. And from the venue's perspective, if they have capacity left, they can use this also as a marketing tool to attract more customers. If they are full, it's in their interest to put it on red, because what they don't want to have happen is to be on green for people to show up and to still be rejected, because that's going to be a really negative feeling that those consumers can have. But even finally, this adds a lot of value to the society, to the government, for 2 main reasons. The first is that it actually helps distribute the public, which reduces the public health risk of corona spreading. And secondly, also for economic development. If you want to go to that bar or restaurant that you regularly go to, you're willing to spend money, but you can't because the capacity is full. But instead, now you are able to spend that money, and the government is still able to tax that revenue.
Excellent. So what I really love about this is that, well, there are a few things. So one is it wasn't just that your needs changed or just that the customer's needs changed, but everybody's needs changed. And you were able to quickly adapt to that, both in terms of your strategy, what you're delivering to the market, how you're delivering it, as well as your pricing behind it. Yep. And that's really great. What I also found really a wonderful example of, I always talk about, if you're going to make specials offer, make them time limited, make them urgent, make them constrained, apply some of these tactics, because you want people to, make a decision in the moment. Well, most purchasing decisions are emotional decisions, not all, but most are. And this way you can kind of take the emotion out of it for the next few months. Because you're able to do that. But you've been very clear with people, one, about what the real value is, because you still tell people what the price is, you still have that information on there. And at the same time, you said, but at the end of October, you're going to have to make a choice about whether or not this is right for you to continue with. I think that that's a really great example of how to shift your strategy. Now, I'm guessing that there's some short-term, long-term thoughts that went into this shift of strategy. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we've found a good balance here, something that makes sense in the short term. It enables us to not only service our existing customers, but actually, despite this hospitality recession or whatever you'd like to call it, it's still, despite that, enables us actually to grow our client portfolio. So that's in the short term. And also in the long term, what I really love about the combination of the fact that we're now offering our services then for free, but also that there will always be a free version. And what I mean with this is that, let's say then that October 1st comes around, we don't expect to have 100% conversion rate that all of our clients will choose to pay. That's normal. But really then the beautiful thing with the system is that those venues that perhaps have then not yet been convinced and decide to not go to a paid version, they will not get kicked out of the system. They will simply be reduced down to Nocto free. And, maybe the month thereafter or 6 months later, maybe at that point, they have now been convinced of the value, and it will be much easier for us to upsell them into a paid package rather than have to onboard them from scratch directly into a paid system.
Right. Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are watching, I mean, this is really a wonderful example of being able to change and being agile, if we want to use one of the buzzwords that have been going around in the last few years. It really is. And I think for me, it shows people what's really possible. And I love the fact that, you know, while you're maintaining your value and what you need for your business, you're also there supporting the people who are going to be driving your business in the future and making sure that they're there, not just for your own personal gain, but, you know, for the betterment of everyone. You're making sure that you're doing things specifically to support them during this difficult time.
Yeah, I mean, we need each other. I mean, we need, they are our customers. We need them to survive as a business. And in order for them to survive as a business, we need to provide them our services for free now, in order for them to make it through and then pay us that fee for our valued services at a later date.
And you have a clear strategy for that. And this is what a lot of businesses don't have. They think, okay, if I just throw it out there for free, it'll solve my problems. But that's rarely the case. There needs to be some sort of strategy and thinking about it behind it, but also sort of an exit plan for if things don't go the way you assume they will, you know what you do. So I think that's a really interesting how you guys have adjusted.
Yeah, I mean, we're focusing now on two things. One is getting venues onboarded for free. And the second thing is then once they are in, to make sure that they see the value so that when October the 1st comes around, they pay. And also once October the 1st has come around, also our strategy will change. We will at that point have a significant client portfolio of free venues. And rather than us now focusing on getting more venues in for free, we will have zero focus on getting new venues in for free, rather than upselling those free venues into paid subscriptions, as well as continuously making sure that our paying clients still see the value to keep our churn rate low. So it's not.
And those new clients that you have, are they still more or less in the Netherlands primarily, or are they popping up from other places?
Yeah, I mean, the system works everywhere. That's, I think, also something that makes software so interesting. But at this point, we have no effort, no focus whatsoever on the international market. We really need to focus. That's, I think, also key for a lot of businesses. A lot of entrepreneurs try to be global immediately, which is something that, you know, takes a decade. In some rare cases, less than that. But yeah, just full focus on the Netherlands for now.
Okay, cool, excellent. So I'm going to start wrapping things up. For those of you who are watching us live here, if you have any questions for David or myself, go ahead and put them in the chat, or any comments on what we've been discussing. While you're doing that, I have a couple more questions here for David. So David, what's the one thing that you really want people to take away from this discussion that we've had today?
Yeah, I think it's the point that, and I think we already briefly touched upon this, is that when it comes to pricing, you need to have a balance between short-term thinking and long-term thinking. On, you know, I mean, cash is king. If you don't have cash, you're bankrupt. So you need to find out ways that's going to keep you afloat, and you should also not undervalue yourself. But at the same time, you should not also simply just offer it for free or expect then your customers to pay, especially, you know, full price when it's a very troublesome market. But in terms of the long term, you need to keep in mind the fact that you should not, lose your values, lose your integrity. So you need to have that balance of short and long term thinking. Yeah,
very good. And just thinking in general in terms of starting your own business and having been an entrepreneur, or being an entrepreneur, however you want to coin the phrase, or what you're going to call yourself now. What do you wish you had known before you got into starting your own business?
I wish I had known how little I know. And what I mean by this is that I still know very little of all knowledge that's possible. We all do. And my point here is that when it comes, entrepreneurship is notoriously very difficult, and regardless of the kind of support that you're having, it's still going to be very difficult. You know, you can't make it easy, you can only make it less difficult. And so I guess my tip would be to, if you're in the hospitality industry, look for somebody that has been in the hospitality industry and that can prevent you from making basic mistakes. That's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to save you a lot of frustration. So that, I think, is very important, to seek mentorship from relevant and experienced people.
Yeah, that's great. Get your posse, as we call it, and make sure you have people there with some experience and know how to support you along the way. That's great. Yeah. Thank you very much, David. So David, one last question. Where can people reach out to you if they want to know more about Nocto?
Yeah, well, you can absolutely find more information a little bit on our website, but we're currently in the process of updating that a little bit. But feel free to send me an email on the email shown here on the screen. We're always looking for ambitious people to join the team. We're always looking for potential partnerships. Any idea, whether it's comments, feedback. We're also currently raising funding. So if you think that the hospitality industry is now potentially, you might not think so on the surface level, but I believe that it's going to be interesting for the years to come. But yes, you can contact me through this email, d.franzen@noctoapp.com.
Okay. Sorry about that. I turned the ringer off on my phone, but it still buzzed. Okay, great. So you saw there, you can go ahead and reach out to David via email. I'll also put that link in the chat so that if you don't want to search for the video for it, you can go ahead and find it there. So David, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a great pleasure to have you on the show. And I wish you and your colleagues all the best of luck with the business. And of course, for the restaurants and hospitality industry, I also support them and wish them all the best in these tough times.
Yes. Thank you very much, Janine. Happy to be here. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens over the coming few months.
Yeah, great. So everyone, that's the show that we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to talk to me about pricing in your business, you can go over to JanineListon.com/discovery call and book a call with me. We'll have a chat about what's going well and what's not, and we'll take a look at what we can do to get things working better for you. That's all for today, everyone. I wish you all the best. As always, have a great week and enjoy pricing, everyone. Take care.